Each of us has our own unique background and story of how we became a part of Chiefs Kingdom.
Our reach is far and wide with fans all over the world cheering on our Kansas City Chiefs.
Everyone donning the red and gold has figuratively signed that mutual agreement and come together for one common purpose.
For 76,000 of us at a time, to descend upon Arrowhead, man our stations, let out our loudest battle cry to the tune of 142.2 decibels, and make that stadium rock until our opponents beg for mercy.
We are unrelenting in our pride for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies, Arrowhead Allies.
Kansas City Chiefs, like the mythic gods of ancient Greece, they inspire us, they wow us, at times they make us angry, but in the end, we will never forget them, and you will never forget where you were on January 29th when the Kansas City Chiefs punched their ticket to their third Super Bowl in 4 years. Welcome to Arrowhead Allies. Welcome to the celebration. We've got 2 weeks ahead of us as we send this team to Phoenix, and let me tell you something, Chiefs Kingdom, next week in Phoenix, Arizona, we're going to Phoenix, and hell is coming with us, you hear? Hell's coming with us, and the Chiefs are going to Super Bowl 57. Welcome to Arrowhead Allies. Hello, how's everyone doing?
Yeah, man, it couldn't be better, buddy. It's 20 degrees here in Independence, Missouri, and it feels like it's a beautiful 85 down in Clearwater Beach, Florida. We are enjoying this. We haven't slept. We are pulling our bodies together. Our euphoric happiness is carrying us over, and we are so stoked that our Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. What you think, Michael, buddy?
Man, excited. I had a feeling that this was a year that, the Chiefs can make it through the Super Bowl. On our rebuilding year, they made it happen. They shut up those Cincinnati Bengals fans who's been all over Twitter going crazy, calling us garbage. They called Arrowhead BURROWHEAD, the most disrespectful term that was created in years. And the Chiefs made sure they made it happen and picked up the victory. I'm so excited. Noah, I see that you smoking on that Joe Burrow, huh?
This is a rarity here. I've never seen this by my friend Noah.
Absolutely, folks. I mean, we got KC Blitz, Michael. You said it yourself, still smoking on that Joe Burrow, like the great Pat Mahomes said at the end of that game, baby. And guys, I'm going to use my time here instead of just going on and on about how great this is. And we got that monkey off our back. We beat the Bengals. We took them down. Let's go to the players post game to hear what they had to say, because man, the emotions were flowing. Frank Clark was talking his stuff because Cincinnati wanted to talk their stuff, so Frank's going to talk it right back.
Here comes
They
the
said they run the damn AFC, they lied.
Who lied?
They said we wasn't going to whoop their ass, they lied.
Who lied? Who lied?
Cincinnati Bengals, who? Who that? Send their ass home, that's who they is. That's who they is. Sent their ass home, where they at? In the locker room crying. One, I don't know what the hell he did. 85, I don't know what the hell he did but cry all day. Shit, I'm done. I'm going back to the Super Bowl. Calling this BURROWHEAD. I don't know who the hell they thought they was talking about. They was going to finish us off. They don't take their bum ass back to Cincinnati. Man, they came to Chiefs Kingdom and got their ass stumped off. I'm the fucking king. They got to holler at me every fucking game.
It means everything. Woo! I'm just embracing myself in this right now, man. Woo! It feels good, man. I love that guy. 1-5 is the ultimate leader.
This is my man right here, dog.
You hear me?
You a competitor. That's what I'm talking about. Battle you, baby.
Woo! It's Mahomes' house, baby. Arrowhead. I love this place, man. I love that guy. I love all these guys, man. It's a lot of fun playing with these guys, man.
Woo! Burrowhead my ass! Woo! It's Mahomes' house.
Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party! I knew he was gonna be up for one more of those. This game is over! This game
here. You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs as the AFC champions. And for the third time in 4 years, the Lamar Hunt Trophy, the trophy named after this franchise's founder, is back in Kansas City where it belongs. What a gutsy victory. Grab a bucket of guts. The Chiefs are going to end the season where they began the season, in Glendale, Arizona, and Super Bowl 57.
Frank Clark planting that flag in the ground, the feels. Oh, I think I might want to re-sign Frank Clark just from those.
It's all coming back to me.
Man,
it's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now.
Man, I just love it, man. Just the rivalry that came into this game. Like the Bengals, they upset us and beat us in Kansas City last year. And then they beat us earlier this year. All the smack that was talked back and forth. It reminded me of like being younger, the Lakers Kings series that was happening. Like there was so much trash talk back and forth. Then you had to go to game 7 where the Lakers were able to win in overtime. It gave you that feel leaving the game like you actually played the game. And that's what happened on Sunday. And just to see the players' emotion, like you knew they went into it like it's no way in hell we can let Cincinnati beat us. And they took care of business, man. Shout out to Pat Mahomes, who gave us a Kobe Bryant type performance, playing with injury. And you couldn't tell. He made plays. He made the biggest play, getting out of the pocket. And with the 8 of the 15-yard penalty. Shout out to the Chiefs, man, taking care of business and going back to where they started their season, Glendale, Arizona, man. I'm so excited.
Guys.
Shane, we talked about it. We talked about the injury, Shane, before we went on the air, and I've got to get your thoughts. Because what if I told you that 3 plays into the game, L'Jarius Sneed is going down with a serious concussion? He's out. Joshua Williams in. What if I told you that our emerging star at receiver, Kadarius Toney, goodbye, out, ankle injury? What about Juju Smith-Schuster? How about a knee? It's aggravated. You're gone. See ya. What about McCole Hardman? He's finally back. We're going to get to see him play. Well, a catch later and a first down, and McColl's gone. You've got Kemp in the game. Marcus Kemp in there catching passes. Sky Moore with a redemption story. Shane, Willie Gay goes out of the game in the first quarter. How did the Chiefs overcome these unbelievable injuries?
They overcame these injuries because they reached down deep. As Mitch Holtz has played here by Noah, bucket of guts. But they reached down and they came together as a team. Marcus Kemp just activated from the practice squad 24 hours before kickoff because Justin Watson was sick.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And so with McCole and Hardman and Kadarius Toney being injured, they had to put Sky Moore back at punt return. When I heard that, I went, "Oh no!" Why did that happen? It got that bad. But we have to give the props right now. And I know you guys don't want to do it, especially Noah. We got to give up to Brett Veach's draft because it took every one of the draft from this year to fill in for all those injuries, including Sky Moore. I love Joshua Williams. I'm wearing his jersey. I believed in him earlier in the year before he got benched. But when Sneed went down third play of the game with concussion, he had to play. He got an interception. Jalen Watson got his second interception. Trent McDuffie had his hands on an interception and dropped it. So our 3 rookie cornerbacks, almost all 3 had interceptions. So in totality, this draft, this squad, Karlaftis had a sack. I mean, we could go on and on about these rookies because they are the foundation of this team. They made the plays. And what I want to say real quick to both of you, and you guys are going to be on Radio Row. You guys are going to be having a time of your life, and we're all looking forward to seeing it with Starcade Media. When I sat here with you guys 12 months ago before you went to LA and Radio Row, we sat here with Danelle Bennett and Kimball Anders, and we were trying to break down what happened to the Chiefs in the second half. And Danelle Bennett sat here with us, and he said, as I was watching the game on the side from my point of view, he was in the crowd, he said, I did not see the leaders step up the second half of that AFC Championship game when it was falling apart. last Sunday, with the freaking players dropping like flies, not only did the leaders step up, so did the youth. The rookies stepped up and they made the plays, and thank God we won the game.
Well, Shane, I mean, you mentioned it right there about Brett Veach and how I may have gone a little overboard. I admit it on Brett, and I was a little maybe too hard on Brett Veach. I gotta eat some crow here because I'm not going to go all the way, but Sky Moore did kind of redeem himself there. I still wish it would have been George Pickens, but Sky Moore came up huge. I talked about wanting MVS gone in the offseason. I may still want that. We can save $9 million. But, man, he came up huge. He came up the biggest. He might be my MVP of the game. We might get into that a little later. But when Juju goes down, Tony goes down, Hardman goes down, 6 for 116 in that touchdown that I thought was knocked away or intercepted, and somehow he holds the ball up and it's a touchdown. Unbelievable throw, unbelievable concentration to look that ball in and hold on to it and score. I was hard on the secondary all year long, talking about, just because they're getting snaps, that doesn't mean it's a good thing. They could turn into Marcus Cooper. They could fall off. They could lose this thing. Josh Williams having to be inserted in the game. I was scared. He came up big. I'm an offensive guy. I'm a receiver guy, so I want the receivers, and I want it to work out. And it hasn't worked out with Brett Veach, so I'm still concerned there. But, man, he hit on so many picks. Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, Brian Cook. He hit, and it came up, and we are AFC champions because of that. So guys, I don't know if you can see this. I got a crow here.
Wow.
His gizzards.
Where did you get a crow at this hour?
You got it FedExed. So I eat me some crow.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't like the taste of it, but I was so wrong. I got to eat that crow. And I'm doing it, and I'm thankful because, man, we are going to Super Bowl 57 in Arizona, boys.
Dude, Michael, I'm told eating crow tastes like it tastes like yellow Starburst, man. Eating crow, it's good. It's like kissing your sister, but you just get over it. You do it and you move on, and that was a good way to go about it. Michael, this is just a celebratory. Have you seen this collection of people in this sort of mood all season long? We went 14-3. We won the AFC West. You were the 1 seed in the playoffs, but this is a different feeling because you vanquished your foe, Michael. We're in a different mode right now, buddy.
Yeah, and I just think that for Chiefs fans, there were a lot of doubts even coming into this game. Coming into the playoffs, it was like Buffalo beat us earlier in the year. Cincy beat us in the beginning of the year or earlier in the year. So you had that fear that we know we're going to have to face one of these teams. And are we going to make the plays that we need to? We knew we were coming in with a young secondary. We knew that no one truly emerged as the true number one receiver next to Travis Kelce. So you just wasn't sure, like, how are we going to be able to get by Cincinnati with the struggles that the team has had. They were 0-3 against Cincinnati, and that's why I think the players had so much, passion shown after the game because they knew, like, this team beat us 3 times. We cannot take that for granted. They remember how they felt last year being the favorite in Kansas City and losing. So they were ready to go. But I have to give a special shout out to the guys in charge, man. Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, Spags, they did a hell of a job having these guys prepared to play offensively. They drew up a great game plan with a hobbled Patrick Mahomes, then with a hobbled everything else on offense. And then shout out to Spags, man. You could tell he got into his guys and said, front four, it is on you. But if it fails, young guys, I need you guys to step up. And they did exactly that, man. It was just a hell of a performance from, the guys in charge. And, man, everybody's excited because I think there was actually a fear that the Chiefs could lose that game going into Sunday. But they made it happen. So we have to fear not. We move on to the Super Bowl, baby.
Amen. Noah, there's some people in this stream right now that apparently don't think you've eaten enough crow because we keep hearing some sarcastic comments. Where's your boy Tyreek Hill? He's at home on the couch watching the playoffs while the Chiefs are going back to a Super Bowl. Tyreek Hill ran off for the money. He took the money and ran just like Eddie Money. And so, Noah, what do you have to say to that?
Because I was a little bit wrong on that Tyreek Hill thing. I'd still like to have him, of course, but number one offense, they get it done with Marcus Kemp, Sky Moore, anybody. I'm eating more crow. I'm going to be eating it all night because I've been wrong on just a few things here. And I'm just going to be tasting this. Yeah, how without a generational talent like Tyreek Hill? I know. I love Tyreek. I'd still love to have him. But, man, you just cannot give enough props to these guys and what Brett Veach did and bringing these guys in here, what Patrick Mahomes is doing with the likes of a practice squad guy and Marcus Kemp getting him a catch. Sky Moore had 3 catches, the huge return. So, yeah, keep it coming at me, and I'll just keep eating the crow. I'll keep shoveling it down,
Dude,
folks.
someone has started a chant. Guys, I got to bring this up because we talk about how the NFL is king. To me, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it in sports because I'll tell you what, guys, I've been to WrestleMania. I've been to the World Series. I've even been to the Rolling Stones. But there's one event that surpasses them all, and that's the Super Bowl, and that's where we will be in 2 weeks. But, guys, right here, 53.1 million people watched the AFC Championship game, making it the second most watched television program since last Super Bowl. The third ranked program was Chiefs and Bills. I mean, episodes of Yellowstone get 10 million viewers. The NFL is king, and it's not going anywhere. You just got to revel in this. The eyes on the product have never been bigger, and the people are seeing the Chiefs in this way, and you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and it's time to embrace it. Just become Johnny Lawrence from the Cobra Kai, and let's go.
And you've heard enough, I think, from these 4 allies. We've given our thoughts, but we got the 5th ally. He is finally making his appearance.
Who's the 5th man?
Hot 103 Jams. Brian, be shining. Welcome to the championship show.
Hey, fellas.
Hey, what is up, baby?
And yes, Noah is smoking a cigar. He's
got us smoking on that Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Oh,
baby.
yes.
Brian, you missed it. Noah's already ate a whole bunch of crow.
Yeah,
literally.
We broke down so much. Brian, we need to hear your review of what it was like at Arrowhead Stadium as well as Chris Jones' game. Please break it down for us, Brian, if you can.
Man, look, first off, I'm happy to be here, fellas. And putting contacts in your eyes is a tough task, especially when you wake up late. But besides that, I'm just now getting my voice together. This is the best my voice has sounded since before the game. And the energy going into Arrowhead. Look, man, if you go to my TikTok, you'll see what I'm talking about. But Lord have mercy, it was electric, man. And going into the stadium, I'm riding with 3 Bengals fans in my car, right?
Oh, no.
And I'm the only Chief. And, you know, they like to do the whole little who day thing whenever they walk into somebody else's stadium. And so my wife and my in-laws were doing this who day to random Bengal fans walking to Arrowhead, and they wasn't getting it back necessarily. I don't think they were used to that Kansas City cold. And so going in and trying to park and all of that, I'm like, that's a little, because they're big on that. They always do it back to each other whenever they who they Bengals, right? Wasn't happening for them. Maybe you're like, out of every 10 who days, maybe one would connect and they would get it back. They would get the love back. So, you know, I'm letting them do their who they thing. I'm confidently quiet at this point. I'm just trying to handle business, trying to walk into the stadium and do my part. And that's what I did, ladies and gentlemen. I sacrificed my way of living for the kingdom. And I would do it any day of the week, twice on Sunday, in order for the Chiefs to get a Super Bowl win and appearance in this perspective. And man, I thought I was expecting more Bengals fans at Arrowhead than what I saw. Because usually in a playoff game, it might be like 30% of the opposite team that I've seen in my history. But man, it didn't. Arrowhead came. We took it personal, man. Go to my TikTok. I explained it. My passion is there, but I'm gonna bring it here to Arrowhead Allies too. With the voice that I have right now, I'm gonna expand it right here. Look, man, you can't come to Kansas City and challenge us. We step up to the task. We take Arrowhead very seriously. This is not the 12th man in Seattle. Okay, they don't know nothing about what we went through in the past 30 plus years with this organization. How Marty and Carl came and revived the Red Sea at Arrowhead. Actually, not even revived, created it because it hadn't been created yet when they came here. All right. So we grew up in this. We're bred in this. And you can't come to our Arrowhead and try to talk down. You can't come to our stadium and try to talk down on us. You can't do it. We don't have much, but we have Arrowhead, and we're going to protect it. Yes, we are, with everything that we have, because there's a reputation in this city and within this stadium that look, we take very seriously. If they don't take seriously in New Orleans or Seattle or these other fake places with this crowd noise that y'all trying to compare to us. You can't do it like us. And he paid for it. They paid for it big time, fellas. Everybody in my section, everybody in my row that were Chiefs fans, we were giving it our all. Every time it was a third and long situation, or hell, in the first quarter, whenever the Burrow and the Bengals offense was on the field, we were giving it to them. All right. And they paid for it. There were delay of games, there were false starts. You can see it affected him. I don't give a damn about LSU and what they have down there. I don't care. It doesn't compare to Kansas City.
Yeah. Absolutely not. Mahomes said he didn't know if they had cigars. They had plenty of cigars on board. I will assure you that. You see Justin Reed right here kind of recreating the Joe Burrow pose. And Frank Clark, of course, he's got the cigar. And talk about this defensive line. Brian, I'm going back to you.
Please, give it to me. I'm not done. Give it to me, please. I want to talk about the
Frank
defense.
Clark calling out. George Karlaftis making plays. These young kids in the secondary already ate. I've got 2 helpings of crow in me from being wrong about this secondary, being a little too hard on Brett Veach because he killed that draft. Other than, I mean, maybe Sky Moore, but Sky Moore even came up huge with that punt return. And you got Chris Jones here sacking Joe Burrow at the end of the game and giving us the ball back, giving us that chance, and Sky Moore with that huge punt return. But man, I want Bichon, I want you to go in to this defensive line and how they showed up. And this whole defense showed up to carry us to that AFC Championship win.
Please, may I have this dance? Because I told you all on this very podcast last week, it started and ended with Chris Jones and that defensive line. They came out eating, feasting on that Bengals offensive line. And I knew it was going to happen. Frank Clark, man, come on, playoff Frank. He is here. And he might be better than the 2019 Frank Clark that we saw in the playoffs make that run. Did you see those guys? Okay, they were licking their chops in the first quarter. And Chris Jones answered every question that we had about him. Yes, this might have been a pseudo contract year for him, and that's fine. But he stepped up to the plate when we needed him most, when his quarterback was on one leg, and Chris Jones knew that he could win his one-on-one matchups. He knew that he was going to get double teamed. Mike Dana, way to come on in and step on up. George Karlaftis, he's been developing and has been looking better the second half of the season. Got him a playoff sack. The whole defense and the young cornerbacks in the backfield. Please, can we give these guys their flowers? They have improved every single week. And I told you guys earlier this year, sharks are born in the water. You got to let these young guys play and get that experience. And you cannot tell me that the experience they got when they played the Buccaneers earlier in the season, or the 49ers earlier in the season, or Buffalo, or the Bengals earlier in the season. You cannot tell me that they did not learn from that game. And that's what you got to do. Believe in those young guys. Believe in all those rookies back there, because they look good in training camp. Yeah, we knew that they was going to give up a couple plays here and there. Yeah, they had issues with the Bengals in their route running last time. But you saw what happens when you play total team defense, when you get the pressure on the quarterback with Chris Jones and Frank Clark and the rest of the D-line. It makes it so much easier and better for those guys on the back end to cover. And you saw that. They finally got a chance to and there was no holding. There was no illegal contact or cheating or any of that. And yeah, Jamar Chase, he got his, and he's going to get his a lot of times, even in double coverage. But those young guys played their asses off. It was a total team defense effort, and it looked good, baby. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and I just want to shout out, since you attacked the D-line, just really shout out the back end there, because they played such great football. And I even think if you look at the season, I think we kind of underrated them coming into the postseason. Like, the back end gave up 33 touchdowns, but 16 of those touchdowns were when the Chiefs were up double digits, where you kind of play a little vanilla secondary just so that you can get out of the game with a win. And these young guys came out. They're the perfect blend of players. They're long, they're fast, they're physical, You got McDuffie who's playing there, who was able to move over to the slot and make some plays. What about Brian Cook, man? Like that guy looks like a real steal. He can play everywhere when it comes to the safety position. At free safety, he's crazy because he has great awareness and speed. He made a couple plays, and they made everything tough. Like Higgins had to go up and make a Randy Moss type catch. Chase had to go up and make a great catch. Other than that, what did their offense really do? Like their offense didn't really do much. So
Couldn't
that's
run
why
it.
I have to, couldn't run the ball. Like shout out to Spags and what they have been doing the entire season with these young guys. What they did up front with Saunders, with Williams there, and those guys to help out Chris Jones and Frank Clark and those guys. Dunlap, he didn't make a sack, but he had some pressures and quarterback hits. Like what the Chiefs did defensively, I think has shocked everyone. And that's why going in even into the Super Bowl is having everybody like, man, if this defense, if this is how they're playing, Pat is going to make it happen. So it's just crazy, man.
Yeah, one quick thing here. I just, like you mentioned Spags right there, Michael, and that made me just think of this. I just have to say this. I got to give a huge shout out to Spags because when L'Jarius Sneed goes down early in that game, right at the beginning of that game, they had a plan of Sneed covering Chase if he's on the outside, McDuffie covering Chase if he's on the inside, if he's in the slot. Sneed goes out, you got to change up everything you're doing now, and you got to go to more doubles, and you saw Cook and Williams on him late in the game there. And so being able to adjust on the fly and having to adjust your game plan that you had going into the game and it being successful and him relying on Joshua Williams, I can't say enough about the players and Spag for making that adjustment and coming up huge. I mean, my hat's off to them. I mean, I was a little bit wrong in the secondary. I already ate enough crow. My stomach's kind of churning a little bit, but I just got to give a huge shout out to those corners, everyone in the secondary and Spags.
And since we are recognizing the rookies, yes, I'm wearing the Joshua Williams jersey, and we are giving Spags the mad props to put these rookies out on to learn on the fly, as Brian talked about. Let's and I want to know more about Dave Merritt, the secondaries coach, who is the man who spends the time with them alone, throughout the week, getting these kids' minds right. Because when the Chiefs were up by 7 and it came back from commercial break, the fourth quarter was starting. And we're just like, well, it's 4th and 6. The Bengals are going to punt. The Bengals went for it. And number one, Chase went up and made that catch in between Jalen Watson and Brian Cook. My thought right then was, oh man, that could destroy these kids' heads. But they took that moment. The Bengals ended up scoring the touchdown to tie it, and they regrouped. And on the next series, they went long again. And Brian Cook reached his hand out at the last second, deflected it. Joshua Williams intercepted it. That showed me, as well as the final series, which we'll get to in a minute, because I think we need to all have a series talking about Chris Jones. Mm-hmm. That deflection and that interception to Josh Williams let it be known, hey, we got this. We may be rookies. We may got burned on the last series, but Brian Cook to Joshua Williams on that interception proved we're not down. We're still up for it. So props to Dave Merritt. I want to know more about Dave Merritt, and I'm going to look more about Dave Merritt this week to get an idea of what he's like. And I'd like to know if you guys get to talk to him on Radio Row or whatnot, find out what he felt going into this season that gave him the confidence just to throw out those 3 rookies. But props to Dave Merritt. What do you think, Brian? Oh, sorry, Mikhail. Go ahead.
No, yeah, and I think, man, we really have to show love because we've been killing Coach Dave Toub the whole year. We've been talking about Butker. Should we replace him? Keeping Sky away from, the punt return. Our special teams really helped us win this game. Yes. Butker going 3 for 3, making his extra point, and then Sky making that huge 29-yard return. He had another return for about 20-plus yards that was called back. If you guys remember, I believe in the third quarter there. Yep. So him making that play, like the Chiefs they won every side of the ball, and they needed that against a great Cincinnati Bengals team. And you just have to show love to, Dave Toub, taking all that pressure. We fire him, get him out of here, get rid of this guy. He stinks. Butker stinks. That's why they had Wright on the roster, but those guys stepped up, and the Chiefs needed every part of it, and were able to get this big win, baby.
Yeah, I thought it was a big mistake having Sky Moore out there, but being at the stadium. See, this is why I kind of like to watch the game at home a little bit more because you miss so much information. It was completely lost on me that Juju Smith-Schuster and the rest of those receivers were out of the game. Completely lost on me. Seriously, I completely forgot that Hardman, Tony, and Juju were all out and being at the
to
game.
figure out Juju was gone. I saw Tony and Hardman kind of limp off, but Juju was kind of I was like, wait, he's not out here. He's still.
You know, and you know when I realized that in the fourth quarter, when I saw Marcus Kemp go out there and run an in route, I said, what the hell is he doing out there? What is Marcus Kemp doing, PT? And then it dawned upon me. I said, oh, our receivers are hurt. That's why I see Jody Fortson in here running a post route in the middle of the field, which is our second, third string tight end. And so, man, and that goes to show the offense was still working. It was still ticking without those receivers. And, man, Patrick Mahomes, you cannot – I know you all are probably giving him his flowers already, man, but we can't give him enough. To do what he did, man, it's remarkable. It's Superman-like. You want to know why? Because we see players all the time, every week, make business decisions. Every single week. Listen, man, I don't want to speculate with Lamar Jackson, and he has a right to hold out for his bag. I get it. But, man, you got to admire a man who puts it all out on the line, who you know for a fact, you know it's all about legacy, and you know it's all about the love for the game, and it's all about winning. It's about being a competitor with this guy. We really have that guy in Kansas City. We have him. We have the Michael. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Oh, please don't.
I don't want to say he's the Jordan of football. I don't want to say because that's too far. I can't say that right now.
He's trending. He's trending that way.
He is trending that way. Seriously, he is. We're talking about
Michael Jordan.
We're talking about 3 Super Bowl appearances in 5 years for this young guy. He's 27 years old.
Yeah.
So we got to. I'm saying all of this, the obvious. I'm saying all these obvious things so we can contextualize this and take the time to appreciate what we have. Let's go back to
look
at the playoff career numbers right there. But let's do one better. Let's just go back and talk about the quarterbacks that have tried to fill those shoes, that have tried to be that head man in Kansas City. From DeBerg, Craig, Montana, Bono, Gannon, Heward, Green, Gerback, Matt Blunden, Matt Castle, Ricky Stanzi,
Alex Smith,
Croyle,
AC Printers.
Just bring them out, baby.
Chase Daniel.
It's the quarterbacks that we have seen and we have gone through, and to have this guy who's better than Elway, who's better than Marino, who's better than all the quarterbacks who absolutely killed the Chiefs, to have that guy, to have the man, to be the most hated team in the league right now. Oh, I never would have thought that would happen to our Kansas City Chiefs. But here we are, and it's mostly, not all, because we got to talk about that other guy in a second, Shaggy, that you mentioned. But it's mostly because of 1-5 and him making those plays like how he did against the Bengals on one leg, man. On one leg and no receivers. Remarkable.
Brian.
You got I'm happy you brought that up, the one leg thing, because I think that injury kind of hurt Cincinnati more because it made Pat really have to sit in the pocket. And Pat was dumping the ball down. Shout out to that crazy man. Whenever I see Pacheco get the ball, I'm in fear for the guys who have to tackle him because he is moving out there like Sonic the Hedgehog, but looking to run you over. And Pat just sat there in the pocket and made the plays he had to. The little dump down to MVS where he made yards after the catch. They're not talking about the late play that Pat made where he was nearly sacked on the final drive and got it to Pacheco to go and get the 6 yards, to set us up. So, man, just that injury kind of blessed the Chiefs a little more because Pat didn't run into sacks like sometimes he would. And he kind of knew that, man, I don't want to do too much, so let me trust my guys. And it just shows how special he is. It shows how special Andy Reid is. Man, as a Chief fan, you have to be excited because if we have that duo for the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be a lot more Super Bowl appearances for us.
The injury and the structure of the offense, which leads me to Noah and Clint. about Tyreek Hill. That's why I wasn't stressing about losing Tyreek Hill, because I knew that Andy Reid and company would structure the offense in a way to where, look, we don't need him in this offense anymore. Would it be good to have him? Of course, we would love it. But this year was a rebuilding year for the Chiefs. Look how many rookies on defense. This is a rebuilding year, man. And we're in the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's a lot of
Brian.
crow.
Hey, look, you
He's been
asked
eating
for
crow.
it. We've been trying to tell you all year, baby. We tried to tell you that. And this year is so important with him being an MVP in a rebuilding year. It's just going to make him that much better, like Michael was just saying. This year, with the injury that he just had and the structure of the offense, is going to make him 20 times better. And if we run a game back and it's this Patrick Mahomes from last year and he hasn't learned anything, then we would have lost that game on Sunday. I'm telling you, we would have lost it big time. But he learned, and he's gotten so much better this year. And his 2022 MVP is going to be confirmation of that.
Brian, I love this passion. It's all in your voice. Well, what's left of it, risking the livelihood to bring this home to Chiefs Kingdom and just to bring it to this show like you always do. And you kind of mentioned it. We brought it up before you came on. We kind of ate some crow about some of the things. So don't worry. Noah is full of it. You talked about this, guys. I said it before you came on. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And the Chiefs have done that. And the hashtag NFL rigged has now followed the Chiefs through this victory to the Super Bowl. And you've even got national media outlets. Pat McAfee out here asking Adam Schefter, is the NFL rigged? Well, I will say Colin Cowherd, not somebody that I agree with 100% of the time, but I love this tweet. Shadowy NFL figure. Okay, let's rig the league by having mega brands like the Steelers, Packers miss the playoffs and put the Jags in. Also have key TV markets like DC, New York, Houston, Chicago, Atlanta be constantly bad. Oh yeah, always bounce popular Dallas from the playoffs early. Brian, this plays to your point.
Please.
We've lived long enough to see our beloved Chiefs become the villain, and I've waited my whole life for it. We are the new world order here in the National Football League.
Oh, the Cincinnati Bengals are in panic mode, baby. Look, this is all that they're relying on immediately after the game. I got it from my in-laws. Well, if the refs that did this and the penalties and blah, 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 blah. Look, man, we got a touchdown call back. Okay.
Right. And a turnover.
You're talking to a Chiefs fan. All right, let's go back down memory lane with this. Let's go back to 2017 wild card game against the Titans. Are you kidding me? The blunders that we experienced in that game.
Forward progress.
Exactly.
Forward progress was stopped.
Or how about the holding call the year before?
Oh,
the holding call that made us draft Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
How about that call against the Steelers that cost us to win at Arrowhead? Or how about let's go back to earlier this year when Chris Jones just didn't say anything nice to Matt Ryan, and they decided to throw a roughing the passer penalty on us, which cost us a game. It cost us a whole win. I don't want to hear about penalties. I don't want to hear about refs. The guy was clearly coming on the field. You want to know why the play wasn't stopped? Cincinnati Bengals fans, blame your mayor for it. Blame Mike Hilton for it. Blame the name Burrowhead for it. Because when I tell you we were rocking and rolling in that mug, we were rocking and rolling. The stadium was thundering. It was early 90s vintage Arrowhead, baby. That's what was going on in there. Pure, unadulterated, no internet, loud screaming in your face where John Elway has to beg to the refs to try to throw a penalty on us. That's why that play went on, because you couldn't hear the whistle.
Yeah.
The referee was clearly running on the field trying to stop the play.
Hey, watching it on TV, you heard no whistles. Like, only way you
couldn't hear the game.
Yeah, you couldn't hear any whistles. So that's why when it happened, and then you go and look at the tape and say the ref is clearly sprinting in to stop the play, it's just you guys did a hell of a job out there in KC. So,
and that play wouldn't have counted for the Chiefs either, by the way. And
Yeah,
the Chiefs
we
got a
would've-
first down.
If we would have
Doesn't
picked
count for us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying too. It was inconsequential.
Yes.
We punted the ball. What are you
Right.
crying about? Don't make me go back to 2018, that AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots that we lost. Don't make me dip in that bag to see all the calls that were going against us in there. You know, these Bengals fans at the game talking about, oh, they're getting home cooking with the clock. Oh, really? So I'm like, let me go on my Colin Cowherd. So you think that the NFL a multi-billion-dollar business will have somebody from Kansas City running the clock in the stadium in the AFC Championship game? Are you serious right now? Come on, man. Think about it. Sometimes it's just common sense just needs to be applied to things, but it ain't so common no more.
Yeah, we're giving our flowers to Patrick Mahomes for the injured ankle. Kelsey on Friday, back spasms.
Yeah.
On Sunday, they had to do some work on his back. He's like, I'm going to run some routes, see if I can give it a go. And man, he gave it a go. And he is just about second in every single playoff postseason stat, right behind who?
Chasing Jerry Rice.
Chasing Jerry Rice. That's right. And Kelsey,
that tight end, by the way.
Yes, for a tight end, it's insane. He's second in these. And if he plays long enough, I think he can get to first in a lot of these. Maybe he can get to all of them. Plays long enough, plays in all these games, and they keep dealing like Mahomes and Kelsey do. I mean, this is just maybe one of the more impressive Kelsey stats, and he's got a lot of them to be impressed by.
And Shane, you've got the weird image of Kelsey with the mustache that didn't last long, but there it is.
But how about, what's a stat that's more impressive than that? Go look at I don't know if you all pulled this out yet, the all-time sack leaders in postseason history.
Frank Clark.
Frank Clark is like second to Willie McGinnis now, or third.
Yep.
It's unbelievable how Frank Clark can turn it on, and how, like, after the game, like Frank was just letting it loose, baby. Like he was. I don't and I'm conflicted now on whether like if Frank Clark gets a contract extension, this is where I am. This is how far ahead I am with this, and this is how on board I am with 55, because I love Frank Clark. But if Frank Clark signs an extension, or if he's here in Kansas City, and I want him here, I do, man. You can't get this from nobody else. I'm going to get me a Frank Clark 5-5 jersey if he signs an extension with the Chiefs. Yes, I love Frank Clark, man. I really do. I love his attitude.
I do
love
too.
the way I love his post game interviews. I love everything about Frank.
You missed the intro, man. I'm sorry you missed the intro.
Yeah, we played those language and all.
Well, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Then thank you for that, Noah.
And you got it, Shane.
I think we got to get to Chris Jones. We've held off to the latest so much. Noah and Clint, did you have something about Chris Jones? Because I want
Chris Jones, take it. You go it.
I think Chris
He's
Jones.
good.
We've been waiting. Chris Jones, after the game on Sunday, he said, "Nah, I really didn't think much about not having any sacks in the playoffs." I think we know he did, because the first press conference at St. Joe, there we go. The first press conference in St. Joe in training camp in July, Chris Jones said, I feel I let the team down last year in the AFC Championship game. I feel like that loss was on me. I had Joe Burrow a couple of times and I let him get away. Last Sunday, we seen, I don't want to say a Reggie White type Chris Jones, but we seen somebody who looked like they could develop into a Reggie White type player in the postseason. Chris Jones was an animal on the line. He got a big sack on 3rd and 7 at the end of the game with 40 seconds left when they moved him out to defensive end. Chris Jones was we love Frank Clark because he shows up in the playoffs and shows out. Frank Clark's playoff stats speak for themselves, as Brian alluded to. But Chris Jones and Mike Dana deserves props. He's the most unheralded one. But I'm giving the Chris Jones his props here. Chris Jones stepped up, got 2 monster sacks when we needed them, and was the difference in the game. Thank you, Chris Jones.
Man.
What's to you?
I think this game for Chris Jones, and we're going to see what he does here next week, but I think this game placed him right next to Aaron Donald when you look at the best defensive lineman, of this era. Because, at first it was Aaron Donald and everybody else. But I think this performance, what he did this year with his 15.5 sacks, then you have this big game at these big moments. You make probably the play of the game, sacking Joe Burrow late. I think this playoff run is the one that's going to put him there to where down the line we're going to be arguing, man. Who was better? Was it Aaron Donald? Was it Chris Jones? Aaron Donald had a lot of talent around him. Chris Jones didn't play next to a Von Miller and guys like that. So I think that Chris Jones, what he did this weekend was big time. We knew going in, when he had his interview and he said, "CR at Burrowhead," we knew that he was fired up and ready to go. And when you have a guy like Frank Clark next to him, these are two dogs that are pushing Mike Dana to get better, pushing Karlaftis to get better. But this game, Chris Jones said, I'm going to put it in my hands. He had, 5 quarterback hits, like 10 pressures, something crazy like that. Like Chris Jones said, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be the reason this year that we lose this game. And now I think it's time for us to talk about him and Aaron Donald clearly being the two best D linemen when it comes to this era of football.
Serious question. You guys are going to think I'm crazy for this. Maybe. I don't know. I think Shaggy might. But you're a little out there too with some of your thoughts. So maybe not. Okay. You got to pick one.
Derek Thomas
and Neil Smith, or Chris Jones and Frank Clark?
Derek Thomas, Neil Smith.
Yeah, I think.
But how can you just say that though? They have
the playoffs.
The postseason success is not there.
Yeah,
You're kidding me? Oh, we're not going to get into this, are we? I guess we are, folks.
I'm not ready for this debate. It's too emotional.
Shane, that's well said. I kind of agree. And Chris Jones didn't have a playoff success till 2 days ago. So
no. Come on, see, I gotta correct you on that. Yeah. Frank Clark eats because of Chris Jones. Let's be clear. They work together. They do. And Chris Jones, you can't say that about Chris Jones. Not with two of the most important plays in Super Bowl 54.
Knockdown, Jimmy G.
Come on, man. Nah, man, you can't.
I understand the point you're making, Brian, and I do too. It, but I'm too much emotionally invested in the cornerstone of a defense that turned the franchise around. As I've said numerous times, before Marty and Carl came here, and
good point, Carlos.
Before Marty and Carl came here, it was all about the Royals and the Kansas City Kings.
Yeah,
and now Mike Kelsey's more my Kansas City Kings now than I do. So Derek Thomas and Neil Smith were the cornerstone of somebody that turned the franchise around and it became something to cheer for and really brought us back from the dead. So I love the passion you're bringing, Brian, but unemotionally speaking, I won't compare Neil Smith and Derek Thomas.
Hey, I'm gonna say this.
I understand.
Hey, I'm gonna say this though, Brian. If CJ and Frank give us another type of game like next week,
you go.
Have to say that 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he was different, man. I can't. I just can't do it, man. You want to get after the quarterback. You want to bend the edge. You want to get the strip sack, fumble, recovery. You got DT. I can't do it.
Think about
now that I'm thinking about it, and and I'm still like on the Chris Jones, Frank Clark thing, but I'm thinking if DT and Smith, this is where Carlos made a good point. Yeah, man, they drug Bono to playoffs. Like, yeah, they almost had Bono in the AFC Championship game as well as Gerback. So actually Smith wasn't on with Gerback, but y'all see what I'm saying. I can't imagine what they would do if they had Patrick Mahomes. Anytime you have a 3rd and 8, you need to get off the field. Oh, you're going to get off the field.
Hey, but would you say that they had a better secondary where you got rookies back there that you're making look good because
true. That's a good point. That's a good point.
So with those guys, like the interception to Jalen Watson, Burrow was shook. Like he was like stumbling his feet because he was like, where's the pressure? Threw it up and it led to an interception. Like what this pass rush has been able to do this year to make the secondary look good is so impressive.
No offense to the safeties in the 90s that the Chiefs had, but I think I'd take Thornhill and Reed over the safeties that they had in the 90s.
You would?
Brian Washington's, your
Charlie Mincy.
Chuck Chisel.
Chuck Chisel. I hope they're not watching this.
Jerome Woods in the late 90s. Jerome Woods and Reggie Tung. Not even those two.
Greg Wesley.
No.
Wow.
That's fair.
That's how it's good that we Thornhill and Reed.
It's good to live in this moment where we're trying to compare the glories here. And that's a place I never thought we would be, guys. And that's why it's fun to have this. And I'll tell you, this show, and I wanted it to be about reveling in the moment here in Kansas City, because this city is just upside down. Brian, right before you got on, I think I brought up that 53 million people watch this game. The NFL is king. It has taken over sports. There's nothing like it. And like Mitch Holta said, you can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with it. And 53 million viewers is no joke. That's the second most watched television program of the year, behind last year's Super Bowl. Can only imagine what those numbers are going to be this year. And guys, next week,
right above Arrowhead Allies.
It
from
is
last
close.
week.
The ratings are not in yet for that. We don't have the Nielsen ratings yet. But we'll be breaking down this matchup with the Eagles next week. This week, I just kind of wanted to revel in this, Brian, to get your experience, to have everybody kind of just this group hug that we've been able to have, and just to celebrate and take an exhale for a couple weeks, because now you're in it and you're up on the big screen every day. All the shows are talking about you. Every little thing, every little nuance is going to be about the Chiefs, about the Eagles. You're going to hear the word Kelsey Bowl so many times, you're going to get sick of it. I'm already kind of sick of it. Man, you had to. We're going to go there next week and we'll break it down. But right now, reveling in what this is and what this means to Kansas City. Brian, you said it, that this city is it's a red city now, and that there's no further argument when you look at the ratings of that game. Just unbelievable.
Yes, we had to wipe their nose and get them up out of here. We're off Cincinnati. We're on to Philly. Our eyes are on the prize, Martin Luther King style, as we enter Black History Month, baby, with two black quarterbacks going against each other. All right? Ooh, you can smell the black excellence. But no, all jokes aside, I cannot wait for this game to start. Of course, I want to wait so Patrick Mahomes can get as much healing as he can. But I'm just looking forward to a great Super Bowl. And what team will Rihanna be rocking with? That's what I want to know. Oh, one last thing before we part. Very important uniform update. I can confirm via the Eagles social media. Philadelphia will be wearing their green tops. I'm assuming the white bottoms. I don't know yet. But will we see, fellas, will we see the debut of the red pants,
Brian,
in the Super Bowl?
Check out the Chiefs teaser on Twitter. The Chiefs just released right before the show a teaser of the uniforms. You can't see the pants. You just see the white jersey and the patch. Okay. And so the speculation will be on, I think, until then, if we might be able to see the icy whites in a Super Bowl. What I dreamed of in 1993 could happen in 2023, damn it.
No, you ain't going to see that much white. They ain't going to rock the White Sox with the all white. They ain't doing that. Not since the Colts game. The Chiefs have not worn that uniform since that Colts game in 2013, by the way.
You mean in the playoffs, right?
The playoff game, yes. They have not worn that uniform combo, and they shouldn't. Keep it on the side for another day or something, not in Super Bowl 50.
Okay, let's clear that up, because I think people were getting mixed up. The Chiefs wore their white and white this year when they played at the Raiders and the Chargers. Okay, we're talking specifically if the Chiefs wear their white jerseys and white pants, Brian, they will not wear the what socks?
White socks. The Marty Schottenheimer era white socks with the white pants and the white jerseys. I don't think they'll be going with that one.
If they do wear their white pants, they'll wear the red socks, is what you're saying.
Yes, I believe so. But I'm hoping we see the red pants, because we saw white on white with the Red Sox already, and it wasn't good. It was against the Packers in Super Bowl I. No, let's try the red pants on. We haven't seen that yet.
Welcome to the show. We won. I don't really know who that's referring. I guess you're a Bengals fan. You say Bengals versus refs. And apparently you lost to the refs. You lost to the Chiefs. You lost to everybody on Sunday. I feel sorry for you, but I'm smoking on that Joe Burrow.
Yeah, smoking on that Joe Burrow. See, hey, for my ones that can relate, look, Michael, come on, man. That sound like somebody uncle. That sound like one of my uncles, definitely. Smoking on the Joe Burrow. He was drinking on a Bud Ice.
Yeah,
at
Pat
Arrowhead
Mahomes
Stadium.
He had a few.
Yeah. With a pint of some of that good stuff in his inside pocket. Yes, sir. I love Pat Mahomes Sr.
I hope he didn't have to sneak anything into Arrowhead. Let him bring it in the pocket. Come on,
he can bring whatever in. Come on, man.
He got it in the suite. He got it in the suite.
That's the OG. You let him do whatever you want to do, man.
Before we get out of here, guys, there was some big news that hit the wire, and we're going to go to it. We're not going to spend a long time on it, but
Denver.
Sean Payton is the new head coach of your Denver Broncos. Compensation 2023 first-round pick, next year's second-round pick.
Wow.
That's in 2024 for Sean Payton. And the Saints send a 2024 third back to the Broncos. And Sean Payton, anybody worried about this? Sean Payton, is he going to fix Russell Wilson? He went to a Super Bowl with Drew Brees. Felt like they should have gone to more, but they didn't.
They're
so
gonna be better.
Are we overhyping Sean Payton?
You just said the name. I think that people are overlooking. Like, he did all of that with Drew Brees, who's one of the top, 7 quarterbacks to ever play the game. Like, you're getting a Russell Wilson that's at the, the downtrot of his career. When's the last time Sean Payton won a Super Bowl?
Once.
2008.
2000, January of 2010.
So I don't know why people are so caught up like Sean Payton is this guy that's just going to change the world for wherever he went. I liked him going to the Chargers. I think it would have been really great to have a young quarterback that he can mold, but you're getting an older Russell Wilson. So I'm not too blown away by this move. I still think they're going to be battling to be that second best team in the AFC West, but it doesn't move the needle for me.
Shane Cable here. I don't know if he's blown away, but he says the Broncos are going to blow again. So there's that.
Considering they tried to backdoor hire Jim Harbaugh a week ago, they tried to hire Ryans from the San Francisco 49ers earlier today, who turned this back on him and went to the Houston Texans. And then at the last second, they make a deal with Sean Payton, who had an interview with Arizona. Maybe he had an interview with Carolina. Clearly, this isn't the hot commodity. He's talking about bringing an all-star staff with him. Well, Vic Fangio's not going back to Denver, so you can keep that higher. The AFC West can reshuffle the decks on the Titanic just how they want to do it. But the fact is, you got to deal with this right here for the foreseeable future. So you can just keep doing it, and we'll keep doing us. And I think we'll be coming out on top.
Hey, Clint, I want to say one thing because our guy, We Won, is very disrespectful in the chat. But I just want to say one thing about those fans out there with Cincinnati who keep saying referees. They lost this game because their quarterback didn't play up to par and they couldn't run the ball. Like, I'm tired of them trying to go and find calls that should have been called. You can do that in every single football game, from Pop Warner to high school to college to the pros, that you can go and say they missed this call. It comes down to your players showing up and making it happen. If you would have told me that Joe Burrow was going to turn the ball over 2 times, I would have told you that the Chiefs were going to win. We talked about it last week, that the Chiefs needed to win the turnover battle, and they did exactly that. So all of these people that are coming out saying we should change the unnecessary roughness rule from 15 yards and all this, like, you are just talking nonsense. And it seems like whenever the Chiefs win, they want a new rule to be made. Like, we changed overtime already, and now they want to create something new. It comes down to players and them making plays to win games. And the Chiefs did that and the Bengals didn't. And that's why the Chiefs will be playing next week in their beautiful white jerseys, man.
Amen. Say it, Michael. But what I want to say real quickly here about Sean Payton, I think it would be a good pickup for the Broncos if they didn't have to give up more draft picks. They don't have enough. The Seahawks are reaping that Russell Wilson trade. So, yeah, you got Sean Payton, but you don't have a first-round draft pick this year. We see how important draft picks are to the Chiefs because we have built our entire defense and basically our entire team with youth. The youth of the Kansas City Chiefs alone is going to keep Denver in 3rd place. So good luck, Sean Payton.
Yeah, Shane, you mentioned it right there. The youth and Terry Singleton really wants us to get to our thoughts on the salary cap for 2023. I think it's projected here $224.8 million for next year. Chiefs are going to have a lot of salary cap where the Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, Bills are not. Bengals, because they're going to have to pay Joe Burrow. They're talking about doing a contract extension this offseason, so they're going to have to move things around. Meanwhile, the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl and what is supposed to be a retooling, rebuilding, whatever word you want to use there, they are going to the Super Bowl. And in the AFC, they're your AFC champions, and they're going to have money, draft picks. They're going to have it all. Meanwhile, the Broncos, Chargers, Bills, Raiders, Bengals, they're struggling to find draft picks, money, reaching in their pockets, looking under couch cushions to find what they can do to try and beat the Chiefs because they did it this year. They went all in this year, and they didn't do it, and we are the kings to reign for years to come.
Yeah, baby! Season 24/7.
Now, gentlemen, we're going to save our predictions for Super Bowl 57 for next week when we will be live on Radio Row from Super Bowl 57 in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to save those predictions because we got to see how this plays out. We got some injuries. Obviously, we're going to see how, guys like L'Jarius Sneed, Willie Gay, all the receivers progress here in this next week, and we will get our predictions out next week. This was about handing out flowers, eating crow, and doing our big. And guys, I have to leave you with a primal scream and a Go Chiefs. Join me. Here we go. Thank you guys so much. Go Chiefs!
Chiefs!
AFC champions once again! Woo!